Basically, the fulfillment center had a problem that no one foresaw and stopped fulfilling. And it took them 2 weeks to notice, 1 week to fly there, 1 week to fix it. But if they
Mm.
had a scorecard, they'd see it in the same week where fulfillment dropped off, fly there faster, fix it faster. But they cost themselves 150 grand by not having a scorecard. If everything is green, the business should feel like a dream to run. And if things are red, ideally, if something's red, it predicts a problem 2 to 4 weeks away. The name of the game for 2025 is squeezing more ROI from every area of the business. I would say another thing people could be doing is going, how do I get more from what I have? I think to me, that feels like one of the big questions for this year. We've been working with doing some AI automation and stuff.
So, in this episode of the 2x e-commerce podcast, we dive into the power of scorecards, AI-driven efficiency, and proven strategies to help you scale profitably and navigate 2025 with confidence.
This is the 2x e-commerce podcast, hosted by Kunle Campbell.
Welcome to the 2x e-commerce podcast, the show where we bring you actionable insights and proven strategies to help you grow your business and thrive in today's fast-paced e-commerce landscape. On today's episode, I'm joined by Matt Putra, who's a fractional CFO and founder of 8x. He's worked with over 60 brands across e-commerce, CPG, and beyond. With his wealth of experience, Matt shares how business owners can maximize their ROI and efficiency using scorecards, a simple yet very transformative system that brings clarity, accountability, and operational alignment to your team. We also dive into the cutting edge role of AI in e commerce operations, from reducing customer service headcount to generating creative assets and even training your team more effectively. You'll hear actionable strategies that will empower you to scale profitably and avoid costly mistakes and squeeze every bit of value out of your existing resources. So, if you're looking to exit or scale in 2025, this episode is packed with takeaways you can implement right away. Before we jump right in, make sure you follow 2x e-commerce podcast on your favorite platform. Your support always allows us bring on exceptional guests like Matt and deliver impactful content week after week. Let's get started. Hey Matt, welcome to the 2x e-commerce podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Kunle.
Brilliant. It's been what? We're in 2025 now, and I think the last time we properly got to catch up was in 2022 over one of those commerce
I think
Excel
so.
conferences, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and it was all virtual. So how are you? How are you, my friend? How's it going?
I'm good. It's been ups and downs past year, past 2 years, but we're feeling really good now. Yeah.
Okay, amazing, amazing. So most people may not have sort of heard or know you. Some may, some may not. Do you want to give a quick intro as to what you do and what 8x is all about?
You got it. So I'm a fractional CFO, right? I was a CFO and a senior partner in a private equity group. And then a friend of mine in the e-commerce asked for some help with their business. So I helped him and his wife. And then their friend asked for help. And that friend asked for help. And anyway, that was way more fun than corporate. So I left this private equity group. I left my senior partnership and I started working as a fractional CFO, prominently for e-commerce companies. And so since 2020 is when I left that full time. I've now worked with 60 brands in the UK, US, Canada, and Australia. I work with e-commerce and CPG companies. Basically, the owners have a vision, and my job is to make sure they have the resources it takes to get to where they want to go. And a lot of people want to exit, and so helping them through that process, helping them deal with their acquirer. We usually have a broker as well, but we help them manage all the different ups and downs of getting from where they are now to where they want to go.
Okay, makes sense. So if I, for instance, wanted to sell my business, have this goal to sell my business in the
Mm-hmm.
next 2 years, I bring you in and you get that financial engineering in place so that I'm at the best valuation possible for
Yes,
that exit in the 2-year horizon. So we're really
exactly.
maximizing that EBITDA and the seller discretionary income.
Exactly. And it's good that you mentioned 2 years. That's probably the best amount of time to bring me in or my company in before you exit. 1 year is okay. 2 years, better, because then we can do things like we can increase your valuation by adding operational items as well. Do all your teams meet weekly? Does everybody understand the plan, the vision? If that's true, you actually can get more sort of points in your valuation.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So you touched base on the fact that you work across three major geos, which
Mhm.
is Canada, United States, and England. What's a nuance of businesses across the board? How do you adjust when you're speaking to a Canadian e-commerce team versus a UK, or are you one and the same? What's
No,
curious,
it's
right?
not the same. I would say that Canadians and people in the UK are a bit more conservative, and even in the UK, a bit more conservative than in Canada. It's probably a bit of a stereotype that people in the USA are gunslingers and they're cavalier, but and they are not in a worrisome way or anything. But I would say people in the US are just ready to go all the time. If an idea sounds good, if it looks good, they're ready to go. People in Canada and the UK typically want to make sure they understand all the ins and outs, and nothing wrong with that, just a bit different. But it does, we mean to tailor our approach a little bit. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting.
Mhm.
And then how we were speaking earlier, you're like the head count of your of 8X, which is the
Yeah.
agency name, the
Yeah.
fractional, CFO agency name has grown.
Yeah.
Where have you made these hires? How have you grown? Tell us that growth trajectory
Great
to
question.
24 members.
Yeah. When we met, Kunle, probably I had three or four of us, and now we have 24 people. We have been hiring the best we can find from anywhere in the world that they are. Right now, we have probably 10 people in the Philippines, maybe a bit more. We have four people in Argentina. We have one guy in Australia. We have three of us in Canada, and I don't know what that adds up to, but we're all over the place. We we use Workable for hiring, but a lot of my best hires were made through recruiters and or referrals. And now we're starting to figure out how to hire through like a platform software effectively, but that's been a growth journey since day one.
Super impressive. And so, what kind of businesses do you work with? And besides building for exits, what other objectives do founders come to you guys for help?
Sure. I mean, so what kind of businesses? We were talking e-commerce. We work with a number of verticals in e-commerce. We don't really choose really, but we have beauty, we have kids, we have apparel, health, supplements, like a number of different things,
Hmm. Okay.
even cleaning products. And we also work with CPG businesses. Again, same different verticals. And we're starting to work with a bit of clean tech and green tech as well. I find that really interesting. People doing better for the world. And I would say like size of business is anywhere from 2 million to 100 million now. So we have a couple clients that are around 100 million a year in US dollar revenue, and presents its own challenges when you work with people that big, but it's been really great. And again, most people want to exit at some point. And the other time people come to us typically is when there's an issue. Maybe they've been growing and they've been managing it all really well now. And as they're continuing to grow, there's more confusion. They're not sure what the right next step is. There's confusion about like where do they go next? Where do they invest their money? What part of the business do they invest their money in? Some people are running low on cash and freaking out, and they call us and we help them solve that. And some people are, again, really they thinking early about problems, so they come to us. They go, "We want to exit in 2 to 4 years. Let's work together now to make sure that we understand how to do this the best." So
Hmm.
that happens as well. And people that everything's a okay, they don't need us, of course. Usually not. No.
So it's just down to efficiency, just getting that efficiency in place. What separates a So I'm assuming everybody's profitable, right? Just on that baseline. So what
No.
separates a good, say, $5 million in revenue business from a great $100 million in revenue business? And just assuming that there's profitability on both sides. But what from a financial point of view, what is the difference?
Good question. Mm. The bigger companies have figured out, pardon me, how to delegate decision making to other people than the owners, of course. That's if you look at a $5 million company, typically the owners are involved in almost everything. And that's just how growth happens. But to go from there to 100 million, there's a lot of steps along the way. One of them, though, is product market fit, right? Like at 100 million, you have product market fit. People love you, they love what you have. You don't need to have many products to get to 100 million, but you do need your audience needs to love what you do. And in terms of running the business, people like to think that the bigger guys have it all figured out. They don't. We don't. Everybody's figuring it out. But one of the differences is that the CEOs or the owners of those businesses have figured out how to hire and find very smart people and let them do their thing. That's
Mhm.
one of the big ones. It's just how do you get that talent and how do you let them do their thing? That would be the biggest thing that I would notice as a difference, right? Yeah.
So people supported by I would assume very strong systems, very robust systems.
Sometimes not, honestly. Sometimes
Okay.
not. Yes.
Okay.
I would say not all cases. Obviously, there are like you can't just get to 100 million without systems, right? You have
Mhm.
systems, but it doesn't feel like they're robust always. And maybe
Mhm.
that's the difference. Maybe they are more robust than the $5 million company. They probably have to be, right?
Mhm.
But it doesn't feel like it's all under control. It really doesn't. Yeah, I think you're right. The by necessity, the systems have to be better, of course, because you're selling multiple orders magnitude more, but it doesn't feel like it. It
Mm.
still feels like you're putting out fires. It still feels like you're running around with the chicken with your head cut off. It
Yeah.
still feels like people don't know what you really want from them.
Yeah.
But the big difference is that when I work, there's a $80 million company I work with. They had a team of 5 executives, including myself. They let us do our thing. They let us do what we thought was best for the company in our departments, our verticals, and it, it worked really well. Yeah, and they held us accountable, right? Oh, are you muted?
Yeah. Sorry. I'll just fix that. I'll just fix that and we'll edit this out. Speaking of accountability, how how do you hold people accountable, particularly when they're high performing high performing players?
That's a really good question. The best answer I have to that is using scorecards. And when I say scorecard, I don't mean that you just pick any number of things that you can measure. I don't mean you let them pick all their own things. But when I talk about scorecards, I mean for each department or team, there are 5 to 15 things that are the most important things for them, and they measure them weekly with weekly targets. And if you do that, and if you then review them and the all teams, so what you do is you start with an executive team one. So you get your executives together and use this is a very simple thought experiment, but you get them to pick 5 to 15 things that they care about. And it's things like cash balance, could be on time fulfillment, but whatever the 15 things are, where if you were on an island with no Wi Fi or cell service and you got a letter with the scorecard, you could decide effectively, do you go back home to help or do you just stay on the island because everything's okay, right? If
Mhm.
everything's green, it's great. If things are red, you have to go home and help. And if you choose those effectively at the executive level, it's easy then to roll them through every other team. So let's say the executive team has one, the marketing team might have ones that match some of those or support some of those. The operations team would have supportive metrics. And so everybody will know a scorecard. And you measure these things weekly, and they're red or they're green. Nothing else. No yellow, no nothing. They're red or they're green. And so let's say customer NPS is on the executive scorecard. And let's say our target is 8.2 out of 10. If it's above or at 8.2, the thing is green, we don't talk about it. If it's below 8.2, we talk about it. Somebody has to solve the problem. And if you do that with 5 to 50 different things for the executive team and every team, typically you can let them do their thing and you'll know when things go red because your system will flag things as red. and they're supposed to automatically solve them. But if they don't, you'll see it on their scorecard. You know what I mean? So that is first and foremost the best way to get accountability throughout your teams.
How does it compare to a dashboard? Because there's the
Yeah, great
yeah
question.
the dashboards have numbers. There are also metrics in a dashboard for each department.
That's a good question because most people have dashboards first. Everyone that I work with, most people have dashboards first. The thing about dashboards is this: you have pie charts, you have trend lines, you have bar charts, but there's most people can't look at a dashboard and know what to do and know what's wrong. Only the very best and brightest people in your company can look at a dashboard and know what's wrong. And sometimes only the owners, because there's nothing to you that says, fix me or something's wrong, right? There's no flashing red lights. On a
Mm.
scorecard, there's flashing red lights. It's very simple. Anybody at any level in your business can use a scorecard. Only the best and brightest in your company can use a dashboard effectively because they'll understand the pie chart looked like this last month. It looks like this month, something's wrong. But if you don't know that context or that nuance, you don't know if anything's wrong. Or the trend line's doing this, it dipped. Do we talk about it? Do we not? Someone's got to know contextually, does that signal a problem? Does it not? Is it seasonal? Is it not? What does it mean? And if you have to ask all those questions of a chart, only the best people can use it, and it loses its effectiveness for keeping people accountable. On a scorecard, it's red or it's green. If it's red, the owner of that number must jump up and down and solve it. Or tell the executive team or their own team, hey, something's wrong with my number. I don't know what's wrong. I need help fixing it. You love to hear stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as an executive or even the owner of a business, you don't use scorecards to beat people up with them. But if someone's metrics are red consecutively weeks in a row and they can't fix it, it could signify a people problem as well. So there's a lot of uses for a scorecard where they are my favorite tool to get people accountable.
Yeah, yeah. And what I've picked up is the simplicity
Specific,
for not just the stakeholder, but the operator who's sitting
everything.
there, which means that you could potentially manage different e-commerce teams. Just imagine if you have multiple brands and multiple teams,
Yes,
you can essentially every Monday or whenever you have those calls, the weekly accountability calls, the meetings are just much more efficient, in my opinion, if you
completely.
have a a green and red lights system in there.
I have it's revolutionized how I run my own business. It has revolutionized other people's businesses that we work with as well. People just know what's expected, and they know when there's a problem, and they know when they have to talk to somebody about something, and it just makes it so easy. And
Okay.
the only thing then is, have you picked the right numbers?
Mm,
That can be harder to do, but as long as you're willing to evolve over time, that will solve itself. Because ideally, right, if everything is green, the business should feel like a dream to run. And if things are red, ideally, if something's red, it predicts a problem 2 to 4 weeks away,
mm,
right? Sometimes it's a live problem, fine. But if you can begin to query the numbers, this one turned red and we had a problem right now. What would have turned red 2 weeks ago that signified this problem? And if you can ask those questions, get your place to a scorecard where it predicts problems, you're laughing.
amazing, amazing,
Mm-hmm.
super interesting. So just to recap what you said, and please correct me if
No,
I made
of
any
course.
mistake. On your scorecard, you have like you'd have at least five metrics for operations, finance, marketing.
Yeah.
Any other categories? How would you categorize them? That's 15 sort of metrics I'm counting now.
Yeah.
Would you Are there any other categories I've missed?
I would say start with all the major functions of your business. So marketing, finance, sales, ops.
Okay.
Start there. If you have a business that has other major things going on, add something for that. If there's a team to do something, that team should have a scorecard. Start with the top and work your way down. So if you're the owner and you meet with people every week, that's your executive team, make one for that team. If those people have a team, make one for each of their teams. If there's teams below that level, make one for one of those teams. Every sort of manager should have a scorecard for their people. Anybody that's managing a group of people should have a scorecard for that people, that group of people, and it
Yeah.
would roll up all the way through.
It makes sense. It
Yes.
cascades. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And looking at it from, again, just using the size, of what does a scorecard system look like for a $5 million in revenue e-commerce business
Yep.
versus one doing 50 to 100 million? How,
Sure.
what complexities come into play, or
Yeah.
would that system, for a scorecarding system for 5 million, sort of carry them through as they scale 10x over a
Yeah.
period of time?
So the crazy thing about this is that the scorecard systems are essentially the same. The bigger
Lovely.
company, there's more automated numbers. There's probably different types of numbers, but it's the same system. At 5 million, you might have three. You might have a executive level scorecard. You might have a marketing one and an operations. Let's say for 5 million, that would be enough. If people are doing sales, you'd have a sales one, and each one would have 5 to 15 things on it, right? And at the $100 million one, you're gonna have executive, marketing, sales, operations, IT. You'll have customer service. You'll have fulfillment. You'll have logistics. You'll have, what else would we have? Obviously, finance one. You'll have, you might have one for brand. You might have one for retail, wholesale. So there's just more scorecards, more of them, and sub ones below those. You might have one for product development, R&D, things like that. So there's more scorecards, but it's the same system, the exact
Okay.
same system. And that's why this is a beautiful thing. Because then everybody in the whole organization can know everybody has a number they have to manage, at least one, right? And maybe in a bigger company where you have 200 people, not every single person has a metric. Probably not. But in a $5 million company, everybody has a metric. So that changes as well.
So who owns the scorecards? I know you said, every manager would own it, but who ensures that the scorecard system is robust enough for accountability?
Yep.
Is it the COO, CFO?
Yeah, great question. Person number one, CEO has to be on board. Founder has to be on board. If they're on board, someone else can do all the work, and it's not that hard. CFO or COO or both of them. If you have a COO, typically that person would be the one that owns the scorecards throughout the organization. The reason why is because typically they are more people than a CFO would be. They're better at getting buy-in and change management and all that stuff. But if you don't have a COO, your CFO or even a fractional CFO can own these things for all your different teams. Very short meetings, getting everybody on board. It's a few workshops. It's super easy. And you get a VA just to fill it all in. Yeah, but somebody at the executive level would own the initiative and own a sort of system,
Mm,
and the CEO just has to like sponsor it and be okay with it. But yeah, either one
yeah.
of those three people.
It's a good point you just made with regards to the VA filling it, because garbage in, garbage out. So what systems do you have in place to get in the most accurate numbers on time
Yes.
for
Great
accounts?
question. Everybody goes, where do I get all the numbers from? Keep it simple. Do
Okay.
not automate first. Get a VA, get them to find, and for each metric, you can record a video of you filling in the whole scorecard yourself. And then
Mm,
you link the video at the top of the scorecard so the VA can do the same thing over and over. Make it really easy. And for each scorecard, again, use Loom, record a video of you filling it all in one or two times, and your VA has an SOP. Done.
mm,
Then just get a VA to do it.
mm,
Start simple. I tell you, this is where everybody gets tripped up. They want to go, oh, I want super metrics, or I'm going to use Looker, or I'm going to pull data from Tableau or whatever. Don't. Just get a VA or an admin person to put this in for you every week, once a week. Start there. When you do that, then you run this process for four weeks, let's say. As this process evolves, especially if you're doing this for the first time, you will change metrics, you'll add new ones. Then maybe after 2 months, start automating some of it if you want to.
okay.
The biggest lesson I have there is I work with a very large company, and I said, "You guys need scorecards." They said, "Great, let's do it." And I said, great, what are the metrics do you want? And I did a workshop with their executive team of 10 people, and we got 30 metrics or so. And they said, cool, now we're going to have a data science team put it all in. 2 months later, it wasn't done. And I said, fucking stop with the data science team, excuse my language, get your VAs or admin team to do this by themselves. No more data science team. And the scorecard was done the next week, right? Because you just introduce complexity. Keep it simple. Just have
Yeah.
an admin do it. When the admin is whatever too busy, or when you've loved the scorecard, then have your data science team pick them off one by one. But just get the numbers in, because
Yeah.
the faster you get it done, the faster everybody spots problems. You begin to predict better. You catch problems faster. There's a client of mine where they lost probably 300 grand revenue because their fulfillment center went to shit.
Mm.
Basically, the fulfillment center had a problem that no one foresaw and stopped fulfilling. And it took them 2 weeks to notice, 1 week to fly there, 1 week to fix it. But if they
Mm.
had a scorecard, they'd see it in the same week where fulfillment dropped off, fly there faster, fix it faster.
Yeah.
They cost themselves 150 grand by not having a scorecard.
Yeah. 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 Now I see the reason why you had so many categories for like the $50 million company versus
Yeah.
the 5 million, because they're
Yeah.
essentially units of the business. The fulfillment is fulfillment now, and you has to have metrics to work by, which sort of which scores it literally, which scores
Yeah.
it.
Totally.
So this podcast is video first now. So we're on
Cool.
YouTube, and Spotify has actually started allowing us, publish videos. So for those people who are watching this, do you have like a quick example? I'm a visual person. I understand the
Sure.
green light, green and red thing, but it'd be fantastic
Sure.
to do that. And I'll share. I'll probably share a screenshot of this in the
Of
show
course.
notes. But yeah, it would be fantastic if you could
Yeah.
sort of share your screen, and then let's see what
I will
a
do.
scorecard looks like. If you
I'm pulling it up now. Can you see this okay?
Yes, so I could see a spreadsheet which has the first column is all metrics. So you have executive and then marketing as categories. You have an owner.
And how's the
You,
size for you?
it's fun. It's huge. It's yeah.
Okay. Great.
It's huge. So these are the dates, weekly dates, because I can see 13th, 20th of December, 27th. So this is weekly. Okay.
Yeah, weekly. So again, scorecards are weekly because if you wait for your monthly financials, you're actually getting them 2 weeks, 1 week if you're awesome, but 2 to 3 weeks if you're bigger after the month is over. So you've already lost the month. So get a scorecard. I would
Yep.
do scorecards you do before you do like financials and fancy reports. Do those first.
Yep.
But anyway, so this would be an executive level one for a smaller company, because typically if it's a bigger company, you wouldn't have like another marketing one here. But
Mm-hmm.
you have your what are the metrics that are in the first column, who owns them on the second column. So you can see that you own a few of these actually. I own some, John owns some.
Mm-hmm.
And the next column over tells you, do you want this number to be more or less than your target?
Okay. So it's a
So
Q. So it's greater or lesser.
yeah,
Okay.
so this target in column E. So let's say we look at cash balance, right? We want $265,000 US as our minimum cash balance.
Oh, the
So the
target. Okay.
greater, right? And what the greater or lesser does is it tells it when to go red or yellow or red or
Mm,
green. If I change this to this one, it goes the other way around.
okay.
So you want it to be greater than this number. There's a
Okay.
cash conversion cycle one here, 90 days. We want it to be less than 90 days. So this
Mm,
flags now when it's over 90 days.
mm,
So the way that this works is on your weekly meeting, if all you do is this, keep it very simple. Icebreaker, always do an icebreaker, always check in personally. If you don't do that, the meetings get corporate and boring and terrible.
true.
Always do
And
something nice, right? And then you go scorecard, and you just go to the week that you're on, this one, and you go green, red. Okay, Matt, why isn't that cash flow red? And I'll go, here's why it's red. How are you getting it back to green? This is how I'm getting it back to green. How are you going to make
okay.
sure it doesn't go red again? This is how I'm going to make sure it doesn't go red again. Cool. And then we go, okay, green. Okay, Gabby, contribution margin per order. What
Mm,
happened? Why is it red? How are you making it go green? How are you going to make sure it doesn't go red again in the future? Cool, great. And yours, Kunle, you might say, guys, I'm trying to figure this out, but I don't know what happened and I need some help. And honestly, if someone tells you that, that's gold because you want transparency, you want honesty, you want people to put their hands up when they have a problem. And so if you say to them, look, I'm not sure what's going on, then we go, let's root cause this together. And then you do a root cause analysis, you figure it out.
Mm.
And you move on. And you go, green, cool. My NCAC, not great
CAC
this week.
blended. Mm.
Yeah. I have a blended CAC and I have an NCAC and
Okay.
new customer acquisition costs.
Mhm.
And so that one's red. And so we got to go, what happened there, John? And he goes, I don't know. So then we do a root cause together. And then we go, great. AOV, what happened here? And he goes, this is what happened, what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, from there, you then just document the to dos. So what
Mm.
these people have agreed on to fix these numbers, you have a page where you say, keep a list of to dos, but Matt is going to call the bank. Matt's going to call the wholesaler to get the money faster, whatever.
Okay.
Journal those to dos. By the end of the next 7 days, those to dos should already be done. And then this thing should be back to green. If it's
Yep.
not, talk about it again. But
Yep.
if they're all green next week, you go, green, everybody's green, great, done, meeting over. Move quickly. Yeah,
That is so simple,
so
but
simple.
highly effective because the accountability cycles are weekly. So
Yes,
to the audience, to anyone listening or watching this is what you have to do in 2025. You have
yes,
to start scorecarding in 2025. It's a game changer.
yeah.
It's a literal game changer. So glad to have you on. Yeah, so glad, Matt.
And we've been running workshops to get these set up for people. And for your audience, Kunle, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to run a couple ones for at no cost for your audience if you'd
Super
like. And
excited.
so I don't know if I can give you a link, like it would be 8x.co/scorecard, but I can give you a link for your
Okay,
audience to click
please do.
on. And I can't do everybody because it's actually, it's like multiple hours and multiple
Okay,
days of work,
is
but I'll
this
do.
a one to one or one to many to an audience?
That's an interesting question. I could do it as a one to many, but I was initially offering one to one, whatever you think,
Okay,
to be honest.
okay, okay.
But yeah, I could do two of them at no cost.
That's
But yeah,
phenomenal.
I'll give you a
Thank
link.
you.
Yeah,
I will. I'll share. I'll share the link. I'll share the link in the show notes.
yeah,
So to everybody listening, you can get Matt one to one, essentially building out what your scorecard should look like for
exactly.
free.
Yeah,
Fantastic, Matt. Thanks.
yeah.
I
No,
didn't
it's
see that
awesome.
one
Yeah,
coming.
we've done a number of these workshops, and people
Okay.
really like them. And then they walk out of them with the executive one, and any of their departments get done. All of
Okay.
them get done. Yeah,
Okay. Appreciate it.
cool.
Nice one.
Yeah,
Okay. So let's jump right in. So in regards to the outlook for 2020, what should operators and founders just be cognizant of to be more efficient?
yeah. I think the name of the game for 2025 is squeezing more ROI from every area of the business. And obviously, we're talking will help with that.
Mhm.
But I would say another thing people could be doing is going, how do I get more from what I have? Or, yeah, and I think to me, that feels like one of the big questions for this year. We've been working with doing some AI automation and stuff, and people should be looking at how do they get more from what they already have. Don't add more headcount. If you're going to get a tool, it should multiply many times over what the cost of the tool would be. But I think you and I both intimately know that banks are not very here for you right now
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
this. They haven't been since 2022 and they're still not really there for you. And so essentially people should consider that they're on their own in their business and they're not going to get bailed out by a bank and they're not going to get bailed out by a lender. So your business has to get more for what it has. If you're not profitable, you have to get profitable. If you are profitable, you have to stay profitable and scale profitably. And so how do you get more from the people, from the tools, from the assets you already have? Obviously, AI is a big part of that. Everybody should be looking at AI. People should be playing with it every single day. You should be picking off small use cases and making agents to do those like all the time. Somebody on your team should be thinking about AI all the time right now
Yeah.
because you can get more. You can get more. We instead of hiring a sales coach for one of my team members, I built them a custom agent.
Hmm.
And this agent acts like an e-commerce owner, and they text it and it responds. And if they ask for information too fast, it says, "Oh, sorry, our conversation over." And then another agent will coach them on that conversation. So I could have hired a sales coach, but I just built an agent, an AI agent for this. So everybody should be looking at making agents for very specific use cases. I don't know when we'll see agents do a lot of things broadly, but right now, make a specific use case, make an agent for it. It's way easier than you'd think. You can use make.com, Zapier, you can get your AI key from ChatGPT. It is quite easy to do these things. AI generated creative. You should be talking to the AI all the time. Again, get more out of the same assets and resources that you have today. I think that's the name of the game for 2025.
That's a fantastic point you made about AI agents. Very,
Right.
very, yeah, very important. Very important.
Yeah.
Where would you start? Like,
Sorry.
so on a blank canvas, I'm
Yeah.
assuming some people. Where's the first place to get the best bang for your buck? I've used AI
Yeah.
in certain things I'm doing. It's a game changer. But for an operator, where should they sort of start an AI agent right away?
For e-commerce, I would suggest customer service. There are people who've already made really good ones. You can
Mhm.
probably buy the blueprint for them. People can build you one for 3 to 5K anyway. We actually have built some for 3K. But again, that's where I'd start. You can look at make.com.
Mhm.
You can probably find someone's blueprint and buy it. You can probably hire somebody from Upwork to make it for you. But again, you can pipe all your reviews, and you can gorgeous, and all these different things can be connected to this agent. And that's the first place that I would start. There's a company called Doer Jeans.
Tua.
They're Yeah, Doer Jeans, Duer. They're doing mid 8 figures, I believe, and they have two customer service people because of AI. And there are brands that are drastically reducing their customer service headcount because of AI. That's probably the easiest place to start. From there, one more use case would be maybe creative. I know that I don't know
Yeah.
how to do that myself,
Yeah.
but people are using AI creative and to generate multiple creatives at the same time with multiple angles.
Yeah. You can even with you can even use normal creatives, right? But you could have like 50 variations of the hook
Yes.
with AI and plug it into, because
Yes.
if like an ad is working, could it work more efficiently with
Yes.
better hooks?
Yes.
And that could be AI generated fairly quickly
You
and
could,
very decently.
here's one. So you could have an agent that receives your reviews and it analyzes reviews and it tells you when there's a trend, or it
Hmm.
goes or good reviews, it goes, here's a hook based on this good review, and it just does this automatically. It does it all day every day.
Hmm.
Whenever a review is received, it looks at that review plus others and goes, here's a trend, or based on this review, here's the 3 hooks you could use for an
Yeah,
ad.
yeah, yeah.
That's a very
And
simple one.
and the beauty of it is like if you could then get the AI to monitor if it's been actioned or not, you could
Correct.
scorecard it.
Yeah.
You know, you could scorecard that. So
the
you
ai could
understand.
go the AI could go, here's the review, drop it into Asana, your project management, and do something
Hmm.
about it. Or it could go in Gorgeous. Yeah, you can even have AI probably, I think, that look at Gorgeous and go, is there a trend of things not getting done? Or what are the types of things that are not getting done? Or what's the lag? And there's so many things you could do. But I would say people should start with a very specific use case. I started with something very specific. My first agent was a sales. I got a script from a business owner named Dan Martell, actually, for their sales scripting. And I told the agent, hey, here's the best way to do this. Please coach my team. And it did it. Like hyper specific, right?
So this agent was listening into calls with your
Oh,
team.
no, you have to talk to it. Like you have to chat it on
Okay.
SMS or on like on, you have to type to it. I don't know how to make a voice one personally. I have people on my
Okay.
team know how to do that. I don't know how to do it. But yeah, you just you go to ChatGPT, you get an enterprise thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you go create a custom agent. And then there's a screen that pops up where you can tell the agent what to do. So it goes, hey, what do you want me to do? I want you to be a sales coach. It goes, great. How should I think about that? You tell it, think about it this way. And then you can say, should I have any files? Give it this file. This is a file on how somebody should communicate with a potential lead. I want you to affect that lead. They go, great. And it took me a couple hours of talking to it to figure this out and tuning it. But now my person can pretend that this is a lead on LinkedIn and
Mm-hmm.
DM the lead. And
Mm-hmm.
if they do it right, they get a phone number. And if they don't do it right, the lead goes, I'm sorry, conversation over.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
hyper specific.
literally training. It's sales training. Literally, yeah.
Sales
Okay.
training, literally sales
Okay.
training, very
Yeah.
specific use case. But again, I'm not like a AI expert.
Yeah.
But
What's
again,
the
if you
starting
if you
point?
start specific, just start with something hyper specific. When you do that, you'll go, oh shit, I could do that and that. And you will then just do more stuff. But start with
Yeah.
something easier. Start with something specific.
I
Start with
agree.
something you need right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
Or Matt, it's just wrapping up. It's been a before it's been a fascinating conversation, and I'm glad this is happening at the start of the
Same.
year. And for people who want to find out more about scorecarding, I will link to the link you provide me
Yeah.
to the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time on the pod. Yeah, and
Thank you so much.
best of luck in 2025.
This was awesome, Kunle. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. So, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the 2x e-commerce podcast. I hope you found my conversation with Matt Putra as inspiring and actionable as I did. Whether it's implementing scorecards for clarity and accountability or leveraging AI to boost efficiency, the insights shared today are designed to help you scale profitably and succeed in 2025. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. Sharing it with your network also helps us contribute to growth and bring you more transformative conversations. Until next time, keep taking bold steps to grow your e commerce business. And thank you for listening.